Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3 Episode 3. Here comes the Tiffany. Baby, they could have kept that. Child, let me just wait till I get to the end, honey, because let me tell you something. The way my temper flared towards the end, because I know women that like Tiffany, that like to out you and make you feel some kind of way about your situation. Honey, we're going to get into it as we get into it. If you are new here, then welcome. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Child, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. Say it with me. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, child, let's get into it if we going to get into it. When the episode first opens up, Mel is in the kitchen looking like season 1 Mel. Long bang, honey, not the bang. So she got the long bang and whatnot, and Tisha's coming over. Child, let's see how this gonna go. So she said, after her graduation party, they became a lot closer, and, she's just trying to get things back on track. So then Tisha comes bearing gifts, and it's good to see the two of them together. And Mel's house too, child. When Tisha was just being kicked out of the event, well, child, they've come a long way. So then Tisha comes on in, and Tisha, listen to me, okay? Please don't start no mess. Don't start no mess after this. Don't start no mess during this. Don't talk about this after the event. I don't want to hear nothing about you going into Mel's home. Come in, sit down, kiki a little bit and talk about your business adventure. Girl, child, I'm going to get to that in a minute. And then go on about your business, okay? So then she tells Mel, because Mel pulled out the bottle that she brought her, right? And she said, oh, what is this? She said, it's our chocolate champagne. Me and Marceau are doing a new business adventure. Okay, I've had enough. Okay, let me tell y'all something. I am an English teacher, but when I do these reviews, I turn my brain off. But immediately upon hearing Tisha speak, her dialect and the way she strings together her words, honey, I instantly want to pull out a red pen. What in the hell is business adventure? Girl, you mean business venture. Child, I'm not about to play with you. I'm just not. Let me just keep going. But anyway, child, it's some chocolate champagne. So then Tisha said, she was surprised and happy to get an invitation from Mel. That was sweet, Tisha. So Mel is like, so how's it going, with your relationship and your marriage? She's like, oh, it's going great. Well, Black is busy. We're doing an event in Houston, as well as scouting a new location out there and doing a tasting for the champagne. Now, I paraphrased it because it's very hard for me to listen to Tisha get these sentences all the way together. So me phrasing it this way is the way I would have said it. Okay, just so we're clear, honey, I just judged it up a little bit. In case y'all were like, she didn't say scouting for the... No, she probably said we're going to have an event down in Houston, and then we're going to get the chocolate champagne for the business adventure and the Mommy Business podcast. She probably said all that, but I didn't say that. Child, I ain't got time. Okay. Oh, child. So she said they were going to be down in Houston, and that explains why Kyra is sashaying through in that red dress. Slip on your red dress. Let your head down. Shout out to Johnny Gill. And she was like, okay, so what you got going on, Mel? She was like, you got music, this and that. How many hats you wearing? Mel was like, a bunch of them, honey, and a bunch of different wigs too, child. So Mel said, I'm just enjoying my quiet time because, people want you to always be accessible. And sometimes you just want to sit in silence and sit by yourself. And honey, I can relate. So Tisha was like, well, I like this new Mel. She was like, it's not really a new Mel. She was like, okay, the newfound Mel. Listen, that's what dropping that dead weight will do for you. Okay, once you get your happy back, it's no way to be upset with other people. Honey, that mess you and Tisha were arguing about, it doesn't even matter at this point. You can be happy. She's even made amends with Tisha. Honey, that shows you that Martell was the problem. But honey, we knew that all along. Okay. It's easy to work on other relationships when you don't have to constantly worry about your man cheating every 5 minutes. Trust me. I know. Moving forward. Mel says, so how y'all doing? You and Marceau. Tisha was like, yeah, COVID brought us closer together. Well, child, he ain't had no choice. Okay. Outside was closed. She was like, yeah, I'm just hoping that when we go to Houston, we can get a little romance time. Oh, okay, girl. She's like, we're celebrating 15 years soon. Okay, Tisha. Now, I commend you, and I'm very proud, and I'm very happy for you guys. 15 years is nothing to sneeze at. And I know with Marceau is hard work, child. And he got to deal with you and you don't know right from wrong. And then you got to deal with him. And half the time he's being condescending because he knows that you say words like even. So I'm very proud of you and Marceau. Moving forward, she says she doesn't want to work all the time and not have time for romance, and she don't want work to get in the way of them being together. But listen, when y'all are trying to build an empire, you sneak in that time when you can. You know, I know it seems like it's just work, 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 work. Shout out to Rihanna. But at the same time, the two of you also have to sneak in those kisses, also have to stop by and have little impromptu lunches. You know, you got to make it work, honey, okay? Because the bills will not pay themselves. So Mel said, you know, as long as you focus on the goal, it's going to be okay, because that happens sometimes. So then in the confessional, she said, this is Mel talking, okay? She goes, yeah, I really hope they can work things out so they don't end up like me and Martell. Honey, what do you mean work things out? She didn't say they were having problems. Honey, Mel was shady a few times up and through this episode, but we're going to get into it as we get into it. Honey, she didn't say they were having problems. She actually said they were doing great. Now, Mel, honey, I'm going to give it to you when you're wrong and I'm going to give it to you when you're right. Okay, and she didn't say they were having problems, so I was a little bit confused. She said, you know, I found out too late that Martell wasn't on the same page as me. Honey, he was not even in the same book, and clearly he didn't even make time to get his builder's license. So of course you weren't on the same page. Now he peddling Mary Kay products in this cardboard box. Ooh, child. I'm gonna give it to Martell every chance I get. Do y'all hear me? Every chance I get. So she was like, look, I just hope that the two of you can take time for each other. Honey, I don't know if I would really just be listening to Mel for the marriage advice of it all, but honey, it was nice of her to try. So Tisha was like, yeah, you know, I want to bring the spice back into our lives, and I wish I would have bought something when I went to the sex store with Kimmie. And she was saying that Marceau took that sex toy and threw it in the trash, honey, when she bought it. But let me tell you something. Some men feel threatened by the sex toys. Honey, I don't know if it's bigger, has more girth, or what it is, honey, but they don't want that, child. They don't want nothing up in your vagina except their peen, okay? I'm just saying. So then Mel said, you know, does he want to do date nights? Because Tisha was saying that Thursday, that's their date nights, right? So Mel said, make sure that it's not a chore. You know, make sure it's something that he wants to do. She was like, yeah, I also might want to see the therapist that we saw. Honey, no thank you. All I can say to Tisha is good luck. Over in the next scene, Martell over there putting out some snake repellent. Honey, make sure you sprinkle a little bit behind your ears, okay? So Mel's mom wants to talk to him, right? So he sits down with his mom and he's like, yeah, you know, she wants to talk to me. So then his mom said, you know, everybody needs to just stay in their lane. This is my thing. Mel's mama just need to let it go, okay? They are over. It's nothing left to talk about. Now, I understand maybe she's trying to have a conversation because she wants to get to the bottom of their relationship and make sure that they're not acting a fool in front of the kids. I understand that. But as far as getting together to rehash what happened between him and Mel, it's not going to make a difference, okay? He's not going to take accountability. He's going to act like he didn't do anything, which is exactly what he did, honey. So just leave it alone. So his mama did let it be known that Mel would always be her daughter-in-law. Sorry, coleslaw. Back over at Black, we're over here. We end up here again with Marceau, and he's telling the bartender, look, it's only so long people will say, I'm going to support a Black-owned business. Pretty soon, when they realize the drinks are not 50 cents, we have to make sure that the quality is top-notch, okay? Because, you know, people always got something to say about Black businesses. The customer service needs to be A1, and the drinks and the food and the presentation needs to be A1. Now, I'm saying that personally, because let me tell you something. We are judged so harshly, but then you go to another establishment, a franchise owned by someone other than us. They can slop some food on a plate, carry it out to you, and you will eat it in ooh and ah all day long and pay whatever price that they put on that menu. Go to a Black establishment. Oh, the wings were cold. The French fries was hard. My drink came out too late. Honey, you know how people like to act. So I'm happy that Marceau is letting him know the real, because honey, I've worked in restaurants and that is the way that it is. And you know what? Marceau has a really good business head on his shoulders. When he talks to them about what he expects for Black, I always respect it because he's actually saying something that makes sense. Now, Marceau is half crazy outside of that, but I actually appreciate what he says about the business side. So he's like, look, we have to give them an experience because they can get wings anywhere. So then he says he wants to see more leadership from Jalen, and he doesn't want to regret his decision in making him the general manager. Now, this is my thing. Tisha told you to hire someone with more experience last season. So now you have old goofy Jalen. Honey, that's just what you get. You get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. This is what you wanted. Okay? Trying to cut corners. In the next scene, Jalen comes in and tells Marceau about the mishaps that they've been having and how he's going to send him the numbers every night now that he knows that he wants them, right? Marceau is like, look, you have a very good personality. I just need you to show it more. I need you to get out there, mingle with the people. Jalen said, oh, maybe you don't know me, but when I'm around people, I don't know how to do that. I'm not an outgoing person. Well, sir, let me tell you this. You are the general manager. Okay, now I heard some people saying, well, they didn't tell him anything. They didn't give him an example. He decided to take this job. Okay, when you are the general manager, you are the face of the restaurant. You are the front of the house. When there's a problem, they come to you. Everything that happens starts from you on down. You don't have to shuck and jive and go out there and spin around and be all charismatic, but you do have to be able to speak to people. Because let me tell you something. You being able to talk to them will be the difference between an entire check being comped and them coming back to your establishment. Okay, being personable will save the restaurant a lot of money. So I'm not going to cut Jalen no slack, okay, because he could have went somewhere and got some general manager training. I'm not going to say, oh, well, that's Kimmie's son and we like Kimmie, so he's cool. No. Honey, you need to step up. You need to be out in the front, mingling with the folks, talking and moving and shaking. Honey, it's your responsibility. So Marceau is asking him how he feels about his performance so far. He said, I think I'm doing good for having no experience. He said, aside from the excuses, what grade would you give yourself? He said, what you mean aside from the excuses? He said, we ran out of cups, for example. Jalen said, I told you we needed more cups, but where will we store them? So you mean to tell me that I'm going to go to a restaurant and order a drink and they're going to say, we don't have any more cups. And then Jalen's going to say, oh, we don't have any more because we didn't have anywhere to put them. Oh, my God. Child, goodbye. Marceau said, I built this place. I can build a place for more cups. Marceau, this is the bottom line, honey, because we're going to move on from this. I ain't got time to be playing with you and Jalen. Marceau, you need to stop being cheap and hire an experienced GM. And the person that you're hiring for GM as his assistant needs to be the actual GM if they have experience, and make Jalen the assistant so that he can learn, okay? So that he can get some hands-on experience, get a little bit more comfortable. And then later on, if you want to make him GM, then that's perfectly fine. But honey, y'all getting on my nerves. Moving forward. Martell goes to meet Mel's mom, child, with his knees out. I'm like, look at these little shorts. Okay, Martell. So he goes to meet her with his knees out and whatnot. And she's like, you know what? Thank you for coming. He was like, well, it took a lot, especially after you put your hand up at me. Martell, just sit down, child, and be quiet. Oh, my God. So she starts talking about what happened in he and Mel's marriage and her being attacked. And Martell said, look, I was trying to speak to them. Mel stopped answering my calls. So the only way that I could speak to my kids was through you. And she said, so you've talked to me in a way Mel has never talked to your mom. You have been so disrespectful to me. And I'm really hurt. She says she wants them all to get to a better place because this is just ridiculous. So Martell starts talking about he loves family. Okay. Well, you got to, child, let me just keep that to myself. You know what? I'm sure you do. He said, I asked Mel to marry me. Honey, as you should. And her mom said, well, I gave her to you for you to protect her and to love her. He said, and I did. It was at that moment that I realized that Martell will never accept responsibility for his actions. And I took me a refreshing beverage break. Always Coca-Cola. Honey, I'm not about to play with him. So I went into the refrigerator, got me a Coca-Cola, opened it up, started drinking it, and then I came back. And when I came back, he was still lying about cheating. This is what really upsets me about men like him and him. Okay, specifically. You sitting up here lying, knowing dang on well you were cheating, and everybody knew you were cheating, and you continued to cheat for years with the same person. But child, they went around and about, and in the end, when he hugged her, he apologized. Get off my screen, Hotel Holt. Moving forward, we get introduced to Tiffany. Ugh. They have 2 sons, her and her husband, and Lemire is 15. That's her husband's son, and David is 14. She said, the one I gave birth to. Okay, I didn't like that. Why is she speaking so divisive about the kids? I did not like that at all. Why does she have to emphasize that she gave birth to David? Child, okay. She gonna get on my nerves. I just know that she is. I don't like the way she speaks. She's a liar. Okay, and I'm going to show y'all how she's a liar here in a second. Okay, she said they've been married for 1 year, and she's like, we'll be newlyweds forever, and I'm gonna want you to hold me accountable if we're ever not acting like newlyweds. He's like, of course I am. Honey, y'all trying to pretend to be too perfect. It's gonna all fall apart next season. Moving forward, and it's been a year. So she's like, just telling her husband about what Mel was asking of her as far as the interns and whatnot, and that she got an invite to a birthday brunch, or I think she said lunch. So she said, I don't know anyone in the circle. Oh, you don't know anyone in the circle, huh? Well, honey, you know enough to bring the mess. Now, y'all keep that in mind that she says she doesn't know anyone in this circle, right? So Tisha arrives in H-Town in the next scene. H-Town, stay down. Marceau is arriving tomorrow. So she calls Marceau as soon as she gets there and tells him that she made it, right? He sounded all uninterested, talking about, oh, that's good. She was like, well, what's going on? So he starts telling her about the labels on the bottles and how it was tack. And honey, he did not like how they just put this stuff together and it was not up to par. So he has extra labels and he's going to be putting them on the chocolate champagne bottles himself because they did tacky work. And I understand that, honey, when your name is behind something, you want to make sure it's something you are proud of, not just throwing out any old type of product. So as they're talking, she's like, yeah, in her confessional, she said, yeah, he was supposed to come, but something came up with the business again. Child, you better keep your eyes peeled, honey. He knew y'all had this plan. It's very convenient that something came up. So I'm just saying, honey, I ain't saying, but I'm just saying, allegedly. So she's like, look, I want to have some romance time. He's like, oh, okay, baby, we can have sex. Boy, gone. I do not have time to play with him. She was like, oh, you think romance is sex? He was like, well, I was going to say a candlelight dinner and whatnot, but I mean, why spend that when you can just stay in the hotel room and have sex? He's so stupid. Y'all ain't got time to be playing with him. So anyway, as she's talking to him, he's like, oh, and yawn and all this. And she was like, well, I know that's why you're home working, because he was saying that there's no romance without finance, right? So she was like, well, I know that's why you're home working. He don't look like he working to me. Look like he laying down, if you ask me. Child, if you working, I'm going to need you to call me at the construction site or whatever he be doing, child. But don't call me while you laying in the bed with your hat on, waiting for me to FaceTime you. And show me the rest of the room. Child, I'll be asking all kind of questions, honey. So then he started to yawn. And he's like, yeah, I got to get off of here. She's like, get up and get to work. Don't be laying in the bed. Honey, that's the oldest trick in the book. He ain't sleepy. Child, I would have called him right back. Hello? Oh, child, I accidentally called you. I'm just, my bad. I see you at the event, and hung that phone up. Child, goodbye. So now it's the day of Destiny's birthday brunch. Child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So they get there. Her and her friend get there first, right? Destiny is on 10, but of course, it's your birthday and you excited. You looking good, feeling good. Okay, drop the dead weight. So she comes in. As soon as she sees the man, she's like, hey, blue eyes. I'm like, oh, child, honey, reel it in, Destiny. Child, LeBerg done let Destiny loose, and honey, not even the bartender can get it. Baby, Destiny said, and you can be my man, and you can be my man, and you can be my man. Honey, I know that's right. So then Mel comes in with her bob, and her bob is bobbing. Mel looks good with dark hair. Okay, y'all got your freakum dress on. I love it, honey. Love it. Shout out to Beyonce. So Mel tells Destiny, that she invited someone to her brunch. And remember I told y'all last review, don't invite people to my event, especially something that is celebrating me and I don't know them. Honey, they can mess up my whole energy. I'm very big on energy. I'm very big on what you put out and the way that I perceive you when I meet you. And baby, Tiffany's energy was all off. Okay, Mel, I'm watching you. So then Kimmie shows up in her conservative jumpsuit, ready for the brunch. I was confused as to who was dressed for the brunch and who was dressed for the club. Child, half of them were dressed for black and the other half of them was dressed for brunch. So Mel feeling some kind of way about Destiny's behavior because she had a bad day and didn't call her, wondering if they're really that close. Mel, listen to me. Every time she tells you that she's going through something, you bring it back around to why you weren't involved. Some people don't like to dump on their friends. Some people like to handle things on their own, and some people are just not that open. Maybe she just wanted to sit in it. Okay? And I mean, I understand that you want to be there for your friend, but it seems like you're making it more about you and not actually about what she's going through. Honey, Mel, I'm watching you, child. So then Kimmie sits down because she hears Mel talking about the divorce of it all. And Kimmie was like, let me get up and move. And she was like, no, sit down. It's okay. And she was like, well, I don't like what I'm hearing. So Destiny said, oh, I didn't tell you when we were having brunch, but yeah, my divorce is final. So let's toast to that. Cheers. Honey, Kimmie is like, no, I am so sorry to hear that. Girl, you called him the chicken man. Child, please. So Kimmie is stunned, okay, because she hates to see a marriage fall apart. Well, child, we not. Honey, we knew things were happening. We didn't see the man for an entire season. What did you think he was? Marinating chicken? Girl, goodbye. So then Kimmie starts crying, and I was a little shocked because she was getting very emotional over Destiny's marriage falling apart when they aren't really that close. But I mean, I guess that just shows her heart, okay? But y'all, please, let's change the subject, honey. Destiny, it's your birthday brunch. You are supposed to be happy. You got your freakum dress on. Child, I mean, let's just get our zhuzh. Let's not even worry about LeBeric or whatever his name is. Honey, you should have known something was wrong when his name was LeBeric. Moving forward. So then Tiffany gets there. Child, Kimmie is like, oh, hey, they're all, greeting her or whatever. And so they started talking about her wedding, and they were saying that she had been married for a year or whatever. And Kimmie's like, yeah, the wedding was all over the news, especially because she had it during COVID and she had it at the new baseball field. She threw her husband a surprise wedding. Child, I wish I would. Not you threw him a wedding. Oh, no, ma'am. Honey, no, ma'am. We can wait. Okay, we can definitely wait until something else shakes. I'm not about to throw you no surprise wedding, child. And then that shifts the entire dynamic of our relationship. Kimmie was like, it took Maurice 7 years to propose to me. And I don't think I'd be throwing him a surprise wedding. Well, all of it sounds like the ghetto. Ooh, child, the ghetto. Shout out to Nene Leakes. Honey, it all sounds hood. Honey, the 7-year engagement or waiting for a ring for 7 years, the surprise wedding over at the baseball diamond. Honey, it all sounds like one star. Okay? So then Tiffany starts talking, right? And then she's like, yeah, I know Kimmie. So Mel's like, you know Kimmie? She was like, yeah, our kids go to school together. She's like, oh, okay. But I thought you said you didn't know them. Okay? And don't act like you've never watched this show. Child, goodbye. So she's like, yeah, our kids go to school together and they play football. So Kimmie was like, well, Monster's going to be playing as long as they say, Monster. Well, they shouldn't be yelling at in the stands. No way. Okay? Probably embarrassing the young man. And then, out of nowhere, Tiffany says, yeah, because, I think he was vaping in the restroom. Girl, what does that have to do with anything that's being said? Child, we know who invited this lady. Mel, honey, I'm not liking your little friend. Kimmie said, who? She said, Monster. She's like, oh, I guess that would be a Maurice question. So, baby, that caught Kimmie so off guard, honey. That was so random. You came with the mess, lady. And why did you need to bring that up at that moment? That was inappropriate. Now, if you wanted to pull Kimmie to the side and have a conversation with her outside of the group, then you could have said, hey, girl, I don't know if you know or not, but the kids are saying that you may want to check into this. But they're saying that Monster was vaping in the restroom. Now, I didn't know how true it was or whatever, so I didn't want to say it in front of everybody. But that may be something you want to ask Maurice about. Not just blurt it out. Crazy heifer. So Kimmie said not only did she tell a child's business, but you told me before Maurice did. Well, where they do that at? Well, honey, you need to have a conversation with Maurice. And it's time to start calling that young man by his real name. And Maurice likes to keep things from you, so I'm not surprised. Moving forward, Destiny told Kimmie, Jalen had a crush on her when they went out to a little brunch. And she was like, what do you think about him and me? And she was like, but you're married. She was like, well, what if I wasn't married? Girl, you better not pick up Jalen. Honey, he's scared to even talk to strangers. Honey, no, ma'am. Leave Jalen exactly where he is. No, ma'am. So then Tiffany hears the conversation and she's like, oh, I didn't know you were married. And Mel was like, oh, I'm not surprised. Oh, that's shady. Why wouldn't you be surprised that she knew Destiny was married? Because it was in a blink of an eye? Oh, okay, girl. So Mel is like, oh, I'm not surprised. So she said, I remember now. I remember where I met you. He won an award and I met you at her house. And then I said, you looked cute yesterday and you said that wasn't me. Okay, now listen to me, y'all. Y'all know normally I don't do those reviews where I start cussing and calling women B's and H's and whatnot. But honey, I'm going to have to get into it as I get into it because the way that Tiffany just did Destiny, and Destiny is not my favorite person on this show. I actually am not too fond of Destiny. I have my own reasons. But I have had people to try to out me about my soon-to-be ex-husband to try to make me feel away. So now I'm going to have to go in on Tiffany. Child, excuse me for a moment while I get into it. Honey, let me tell you something. You just wanted to start drama. I cannot stand women that try to shame you. Mel, let me tell you something, honey. You and your Bob, do not invite any more uninvited guests. Destiny is not my favorite person, but really? You gonna say this at her birthday brunch? Destiny said, well, in her confessional, Hoppo, who this woman? Why would you say that at my birthday brunch? No, baby. Honey, you need to pipe up on her. You don't come sit down making me feel away when my divorce is brand new. Girl, don't do that. And Mel's just sitting back and she kind of gave a little look to the camera. You brought this lady and inserted her here. And now she trying to embarrass this lady. Child, I do not like that. Child, let me tell y'all a story time. It's not really a story time. I was at work minding my own business, honey. And let me tell y'all something. One thing about me, I'm very open about my situation, okay? And what happened to me in the past. My husband basically ran off with one of my coworkers, okay? The dish ran away with the spoon. Everybody knew except me. So I'm just minding my business at lunch one day. And this heifer, who is just like Tiffany, comes and sits next to me and says, girl, I thought I saw you yesterday at Perry's. I said, me? Why would you think you saw me at Perry's? She was like, but then I realized it wasn't you. Do y'all know how that threw my entire day off? Somebody can pull the rug from up under you in 2 seconds. Okay, and I don't appreciate it. Then Destiny, she got up and she went to the restroom because, of course, you know, she's trying to gather her wig, make sure her dress still sitting, and trying not to cry her makeup off. Okay, and she's embarrassed. So she gets up and goes. So this heifer gonna say, I mean, I was just telling her what happened and how I remember meeting her, and she just made it bigger than it had to be, and her running off to the restroom, that was a little dramatic. It was a little bit too much, but it's her birthday, so she can cry if she wants to. I'm not gonna like you, and I know I'm gonna have to cuss you out each and every review, honey, and I try not to cuss in my reviews because that's just not who I am. But at the same time, I know women just like you, and I know women that try to bring other women down. You lied and said you didn't know these women, but yet you had a story about each and every person in the circle. Girl, you a liar, okay? This lady just had a baby and a divorce, and now you have embarrassed her. So of course she got up to walk away to collect herself. And baby, that was the end of the episode. Child, this was some foolishness all the way up and through until the end. I loved this episode because it gave me something in each and every scene. We could have done without Mel and Martell's mama or whatever, however it went. But other than that, I loved it. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.